You're listening to Alan James on Circle of White Light Radio and People's Internet Radio, focusing on solutions and thinking different.
Hello everyone, welcome to Circle of White Light Radio with myself, Alan James, and my special guest, my partner in crime, and my brother from another mother, my special guest and co-host on the show tonight.
My head's getting bigger.
Steve and George, and we're going to, I'm going to be bringing Steve in straight away because we have a few things to talk about. We were just catching up on things before the show and having a good old natter about things. Welcome back to the fold.
Thanks very much. It's been a while since I've been up in Studio One, and nothing's changed.
Well, no, the dust is still the same.
Dust is still the same. Yeah, I can still see my fingerprints in it.
That's it. And you're sitting in my chair now because I'm in the control room at the moment.
Yes.
That's it.
And we're not even socially distancing.
No, definitely not.
How would you
definitely
like
not.
that?
What anti-government, we're not even social distancing. And we don't even have a mask on.
Nope.
No, there you go. We're just mad people. Hellraisers. Okay, so, we're going to go through a few things anyway, as usual. A few things to talk about. And then we're just going to have a natter about everything that's going on. Because we haven't really had a radio catch-up in a long time.
It's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a while. So we're going to have a radio catch up. So we're not going to have any guests on. We're not going to be doing any of that. It's just going to be me and Steve shooting the breeze and talking a few bits and pieces. A couple of things that might interest you as well. So before we do that, let's find out what the communication channels are.
The communication channels are email. Contact us at circleofwhitelight.com, by phone 046 927 1212, or sign up to our newsletter via our website at circleofwhitelight.com.
Okay, as you know, Circle of White Light is on Patreon, patreon.com/COWLR, and also on PayPal. Thank you very much for your donations there. Very much appreciated, and again, there'll be donations going to worthy causes as well through the People's Club, as you know. Thanks a lot for everybody who donates. It's really much appreciated. It keeps the cogs going, keeps the wheels in motion. Right, okay, well, as I said, welcome to Steve, coming back to Studio One to have a catch up. So there's a couple of things we're going to talk about first before we get into the talking about the bits and pieces that are on. And of course, the one thing is obviously this virus is still going around the place. And what I have here is a local club. I won't say what club it is, but it's a local club. Steve knows what I'm talking about. And they put out some restrictions for the members in the club, which I just find is completely, you cannot dictate to people what to do. I mean, that's why we have a constitution, and we'll talk about that as well. But it says here on their rules and regulations, if you're going back to the club, members must reside within 5 kilometres of the course. Social distancing must be adhered to. This is an outdoor sport, by the way. Respiratory etiquette must be observed. What does that mean, respiratory?
I have no idea. Respiratory etiquette.
I don't know. No more than two players at any one time. Allow enough time, at least 10 minutes between each pairing. Hand sanitizers are provided on the course for your use. Let's see what else. Okay. That's fees. It's essential that players contact the club secretary by text after their game so that we can keep a record of members using the course. This is necessary for contact tracing. All right.
Contact tracing.
Yes. Okay. And there's a couple of other things. But the thing is, with these rules and regulations, and Ben Gilroy did a video there last week, fair play to Ben, and he clarified the whole idea of Article 41(1.1), which is the whole area of the family having superior rights above and beyond the positive law. right?
Yep.
So any terms and conditions that you're told by anybody, that's company terms and conditions, or any rules and regulations by any club, right? None of that can trump the Constitution, right? And even if you're on your own, you're still a family because your mum and dad is a family, and you're the son or you're the daughter. Okay, so you're
I think
still
they
a
have
family.
to once there's marriage somewhere.
That's right.
Within the lineage, yeah.
Once there's marriage in the family, that's it. And so Ben talks about Article 41(1.1), and you have inalienable rights, and you have and rights, and the Constitution doesn't give you the rights, by the way. The Constitution, Irish Constitution, acknowledges that you have these rights since time immemorial. All right, and they're superior to any positive law. Now, there's people out there saying that, the government's come out and made some emergency laws and legislation and da-di-da-di-da. It doesn't matter. They can make anything they like. It's still classed as positive law, and the family is far superior and above any positive law. All right, that's the way it is. So if they come out and start saying, we're going to have mandatory vaccines, they can say what they like. It's still going to be positive law, and the family is above and beyond positive law. So one of the things that happened to me a few years ago was that this health centre was sending me letters saying that my son had to go in to get some vaccine. Right, I don't know. It wasn't Tdap or something. It was something.
I remember it. Yeah,
remember that. And then I spoke to Vin on PIR, and I said at the time, I said, Vin, what should I do about this? And he said, just write a letter back, keep it simple, and say we have made a private family determination, and he won't be getting the vaccine. And that's all the letter said. Right. Now, if they send a letter back to me and saying, well, what was the private family determination? I would have said, well, it's private. It's a family determination, and
we
it's
don't
private.
discuss private family matters. Yeah.
Exactly, we don't discuss them, and that was it. Ended. That was gone, and that was finished with. So people are getting worried now because they're concerned about the mandatory vaccines. They're all going to hold us down and inject us. No, they can't do that. You have the right to bodily integrity, right? They just cannot do that. There are different ways what they can do, and they could turn around and say, well, you have to have some certificate from your doctor saying that you have a vaccine, or you can't travel on the bus or something like that. I mean, that's probably where they'd like to go down the road. Maybe that's where they'd like to go, but whether they go down that road,
if Bill Gates has his way, that'll be it, Alan. I mean, if he gets his way from what people are speculating, then we will have to carry a card. And if it won't be a card, then it could be a chip.
Did you see
buried in your skin?
Did you see him talking about the 7 billion? I want to vaccinate 7 billion.
I seen reference to on the internet, but I didn't actually. I'm guessing there is a video of him actually saying this.
Yeah.
Right. Well, obviously he's a doctor.
Oh yeah, totally.
And
totally.
a virologist.
And we shouldn't be getting together, and he won't allow us get together until we're all vaccinated.
He won't allow us.
He won't allow us. No.
Oh right.
Yeah.
So should I have asked his permission to come up here this evening? Do you think?
Well, you might. Yeah. Email to Microsoft support and. Dear Bill.
To support.
Dear Bill. It's very hard to speak to him,
Yeah.
But on saying that, this is his idea. Now, the fact that he has a company that's involved with producing the vaccine, and if they vaccinated everybody in the UK, he'd make about 31 billion, is irrelevant.
Pocket change.
Conflict of interest, maybe, huh?
Well, that's what I would have thought, because if he has he has a bit of skin in the game, as they say, then obviously he would stand to, I just say, reap a nice little reward. But he's not. The thing that I just can't get over, and a lot of people can't get past, is he's not a doctor, but yet he seems to be rolling out all this information and all these guidelines, and people are kind of jumping to his tune.
Yeah.
When you have genuine doctors and virologists who have studied this, the likes of the COVID-19 and other viruses, and they are being banned and censored from social media and YouTube. But these people, I mean, if I needed to go to a doctor or someone medical because of a condition, I would sooner go to someone who has studied the condition rather than go to someone who makes, computer software.
So back in the day when in IT, when I was in that world, We always had a suspicion that when they produced the antivirus software, we would get a message from the antivirus software vendors saying that this virus is not in the wild, but it could be, right?
Yeah.
They always did this. This virus is not in the wild, right? Because it's the viruses that kept them in business. And if there was no viruses, then there'd be no antivirus business.
Yeah.
So obviously Bill Gates has been thinking, okay, so how can I apply that to the human, the body, the humanity, right? So what we'll do is we'll have vaccine version 1, vaccine version 2, like Windows, 98, Windows 2000, whatever. And then there'll be all these vaccines and versions, So maybe this is his idea, is to have multiple vaccines for everything and anything, and you'd be pumping yourself God knows what.
Isn't it a case that, they kind of want to migrate us from humans into machines anyway? I mean,
transhumanism.
Transhumanism. I mean, that's kind of been on the cards for quite a long time, and people, the conspiracy theorists, they've been kind of telling people this, trying to educate people, and the people are just going, don't be ridiculous. The usual, BS, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
It is happening. It has happened.
This is it. This is really, and more and more people are red pilling. There's a lot of people now waking up and asking questions, and that's what we need to do, is to get them to wake up. And maybe this is the whole idea of 2020 vision. The whole idea that people are seeing it now of what's going on.
Well, I think, to be fair, I know we have been trying for a long time to wake people up and plant seeds and just, try and give people a bit of a head start on where the world is today, what's kind of going on, and where, when you go into a supermarket or somewhere, you'll see like a big board with, all the different stores on it, and there'll be a little thing going, "You are here."
Yeah.
I think that's what we've been doing for a long time. We've been trying to tell people, you are here. There's all this stuff going on around you, but you are here. And we just want to make them see the bigger picture. Just kind of pull back from where you are, look at the bigger picture, draw your own conclusions. And that's it. But as we said before, and I know it's been said time and time again, the people who need to be awake are awake. Yeah. And I mean, look, if someone had come to me at a point in time before my awakening and tried to shove something down my neck, I would have objected, and I would have pushed back and said, "No, you're a nut job," and all this, So, which I think that's one thing that OYM never did. We don't do that. We've never done that. We've never force fed anyone with anything. No. It's a case of, here's some information, have a look at that and see what you think.
But on saying that, the seminars that we did, and we mentioned the fluid belief system, more and more people have been emailing me over the time and asking about that, and asking about how do you wake people up and what's the best approach. So I've been kind of, pushing them that way and saying, well, listen to myself and Steve talk, look at this a video, and that has been pushed out quite a lot. I've pushed that out quite a lot to help people understand the psychology of the waking up process, because that's what it is. So because instead of pushing information in their face, they're not interested. Apply the psychology. Don't argue on whether the moon's made of cheese. Look at the psychology and what's involved. And, the feedback's, again, pretty good with it.
That's it.
Push it out there. Well, we will get into more subjects on the global scale. Do you want to take the second one there?
Yes. It's just like old times. TheExpress.co.uk says, Roger Daltrey has said, "Go F yourselves." The WHO, I was going to say the WHO, the WHO star hits out over being told to stay in. Roger Daltrey, the WHO frontman, shared his thoughts on the coronavirus lockdown this week and didn't hold back. Roger, 76, said he is proud of the British public for their resilience in the face of the coronavirus pandemic. The WHO frontman admitted he would clap all day long for the nation's healthcare workers and frontline staff, but blamed experts for creating confusion over the lockdown. Despite being in a high-risk group, the English rocker said he would not be told to stay in by anyone. I like this guy. The musician commented, "I live in the countryside, so it's a lot easier. I cannot imagine what it must be like stuck in London in a flat with a couple of kids. I'm not moaning about anything, but equally, as a 76-year-old, I'm not going to be told by anyone or anybody to stay in. Go F yourselves. We can't wrap ourselves in cotton wool," he added. The songwriter went on to say that it was scientists rather than the government who were causing the confusion for the general public amid the COVID-19 outbreak. Roger said, "For every academic that's telling us one thing on the science, there's any equal academic scientist. There's any equally academic scientists on the other side of the fence saying, no, you're wrong, and this is what we should do. No wonder the public's confused. No wonder the government's confused. And no wonder that all around the world there are different results on how we're getting through it." He continued, "Comparing different countries would be like comparing apples and oranges." But he went on to praise British public for their resilience amid the ongoing crisis. "I'm very proud of us for that. And again, our frontline clinicians and clinical care workers, I'll clap all day long for," he added. And that's it.
That's it. Well, here you go. The song, My Generation.
Yep.
People tried to put us down talking about My Generation.
Yep.
So do you think you change the lyrics there? People tried to keep us in talking about My Generation 76.
Yeah.
I think there's a song in there. I think there's a change of lyrics there in the song.
But you'd have to agree with the guy.
Oh, totally, yeah. I'm not into the whole clapping thing, though.
Well, no, nor am I. I mean, if people want to do it, well, fair play to them for doing it, I say, because I'm not going to say it's wrong.
Yeah.
If people feel by clapping that it somehow sends a message through the ether, and those who are on the front line dealing with any casualties, not just COVID-19, but any casualties in an emergency situation in an ER department, if they somehow get something from that, well, I'm all for that. But for someone to say, don't forget now, clap at 8 o'clock tonight, that's just another form of control. Again, it's people telling you what to do.
Yeah, again,
clap, louder.
Yeah, no, it's the whole it's the whole thing again. Got to do with control and people being. I mean, we know the government and the things that they've been up to for successive governments regarding thalidomide, asbestos, the cervical cancer issue, the Ryan report, all the hiding of the abuse in the church and the hiding of the records. And now we have this fiasco with the virus. I mean, how incompetent or how many mistakes do the governments have to do for people to wake up and realise that these people are fundamentally incompetent?
Well, if I can answer that, I think the government can pretty much, they have carte blanche really. They can do what they like, because for everything that the government does, like, you just look at it. They're robbing, as the old saying goes, they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. But what they're doing over here on the left, then they'll just throw in something else here on the right to disguise and mask. I mean, you look at Prince Philip. No one's talking about Prince Philip anymore, are they? No one's talking about Prince Philip. And at this moment in time, no one's talking about Greta Thunberg either.
Exactly.
Because the spotlight is over here on COVID-19. And I think COVID-19 will run its course. And they'll try and, I think they will try and implement all the vaccination, the mandatory stuff. I don't think they're going to be successful in that, personally speaking, because I think that's where a lot of people will draw the line. Of course, some people will opt for it. Like they'll jump in the back of that bus that's going to the concentration camp. It's because it's for their good. They will do it. But I think en masse, I don't believe people will fall for it, because there's enough information on the internet. I mean, this is the information age, isn't it? Seriously. There's enough information out there at the moment, and I believe people are not stupid. But again, there are some people, I'm guessing there are some people who are listening to the information, they're seeing the information, and it's starting to resonate with them. Like for some reason, they don't believe this COVID. They don't believe about the lockdown. You go onto any of these websites and you look at all these cameras worldwide, and it's a case of the streets are empty. Except for the police, who aren't social distancing in any countries, by the way. I've seen them.
But that's the Jedi ability. They got 6 months in Temple More. They have Jedi abilities too. The virus stopped.
Yes. Yeah. But like that's going on, and then I think there are some people who are sitting there and they're watching that, and they're going, okay, this doesn't make sense to me. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to talk to Jimmy. So they'll talk to Jimmy, and Jimmy will go, "Oh, don't be ridiculous. Don't be, do you know what, you're starting to sound like one of them conspiracy theorists. No. Well, just watch the news." And then you have this guy who's sitting there going, "No, well, Jimmy seems to be believing, but there's something that just doesn't resonate." And then hopefully, this guy will start kind of just doing a little bit of research on the internet. He'll come across the likes of People's Internet Radio, Open Your Mind, Circle of White Light, And not in that particular order, by the way. I'm just saying. And maybe Jimmy will start to have a little epiphany, or not Jimmy. We call him John. He'll start to have a little epiphany and start to kind of wake up and see things, and then he will source out. As you've said before, and it's true. When the student is ready, the master will appear. So I reckon that at this moment there are a lot of people who are still in their homes. They're having their own little waking up process, and they just don't know what to do because it goes in. It doesn't corroborate what mainstream is saying, and the next door neighbour is saying one thing, and they still think no, it doesn't make sense. They're the people that are. I think they're the next wave of what we were 10, 15 years ago.
Well, even Elon Musk tweeted, "Time to take the red pill."
Yeah.
What was that all about? Now, this hydrobadadi-quinlan drug.
Yes.
I
can't pronounce it either, yeah.
Yeah, but that drug that Trump is saying is apparently red as well.
Oh, is it?
I heard that the other day.
Okay.
Now, that's quite interesting that it's time to take the red pill. So that's interesting. But yeah, no, I totally agree. We've been doing this a long time, Steve. And I'm not going to say we've seen it done and have the T-shirt because we still have a lot to learn. But at the same time, we have covered a lot of subject matter over the years, and talked an awful lot about it, and we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what develops. But there's a number of topics we're going to be getting into shortly. But I will just touch base on my week, as always. I just kind of keep you updated on what's going on.
Because it's all about you.
We'll go over. It's all about me. No, I'm going to go to your week as well. So start thinking about your week.
Jesus.
But we only have half an hour.
How can I squeeze 6 months into half an hour?
That's it. No, very, very briefly, I'll just say my car has finally given up the ghost, and repair costs seem to be more than what the car is worth. So I have it parked outside now, and that's where she's going to stay. It's 15 years old, so bless her. She did me well. She served me well. But so I'm now a one-car family, and but then again, on the good side, I'm going to save money on tax, insurance, petrol, maintenance, and NCT costs. So yeah, there's always a good side to a bad side. We'll have to see what happens. But that's the only news I have this week, because what really does go on during the week when you're actually kind of locked in? To be honest with you, for me, apart from me doing the shopping and the school run and stuff like that, nothing has really changed, because I never really went far anyway.
Exactly.
So it wasn't really much of a change.
It's like you've been practicing for this all your
life. I've been rehearsing all this time. What about your week? You get stopped. You've got stopped a few times.
Look, yeah, I've been stopped a couple of times by members of An Garda Síochána. Where are you going? What's the purpose of your journey? And we were going, myself and my wife were going in to collect the Chinese takeaway, because if I don't have my Chinese takeaway on a Friday, then heads will roll. Friday night, and we're stopped by a Garda. Can I ask the purpose of your journey? Shopping. One word: shopping. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. And that's it. I don't see it as too much of an inconvenience. If they had probed further, then I would have been inconvenienced. Coming off a motorway one day, I was stopped. Same scenario. But this guy wanted to go a step further. Have you got a letter from your job? Because I was coming home from work. And I showed him the letter, and he was happy enough with that. And that was it. But as I said to you, I think I said to you in an email, if you actually, there's a website, just go onto a search engine and type in Skyline webcams and have a look at, you see cameras from all over the world. But if you look at the one for Ireland, there's only one in Ireland. It's in O'Connell Street. And you will see members of An Garda Síochána, that's the Irish Police Force /Service. They stop, if it moves, they stop it. And they're asking everyone where they're going. They're also stopping buses and taxis, and they're getting onto the buses to make sure people are social distancing and make sure that your journey is essential. So that's going on, and
that's a bit too big, brother, for me now.
That is.
That's a bit.
I think that's crossing the line.
Yeah.
You've paid your fare to be on a bus. So therefore, you have a contract. That company has now contracted with you because money is exchanged hands, and they have agreed to take you from point A to point B. So someone getting on from Garda Síochána and asking where you're going, I don't believe it's any of your business, sir.
Yeah.
Because I have entered into a contract with this company, and I have a ticket. There's my ticket.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And also, when they stopped you and you pulled down the window, did they have a mask on? Did they get too close to you?
The guy who stopped me and the two times that I was stopped, neither time were there any masks and or gloves in place, and the guards did not socially distance. You see, again, like it's like what you're saying. Maybe Templemore, it's just a fantastic place where they become immune to everything, including common sense. But no, they are stopping people and they're leaning into cars without masks. And I think, if we're getting told by the government we need to do this, that and the other, then surely that the same should apply to the guards.
Lead by example.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And there, I mean, you told me the story as well about a married couple sitting on a bench. They were fined for not socially distancing, even though they live together, sleep together. I mean, that beggars belief.
That's the UK. Well, I don't know whether they were foreign, but they were definitely. I seen the video. The UK police officer went up and said, "You have to social distance," and he goes, "But this is my wife. We sleep together. We live together." No. It says here on my instructions here by my boss, everybody has to social distance. Where's the common sense in that?
There is none. It's the Nuremberg thing all over again. But isn't it? I think there was something during the week whereby they're not allowed. They can suggest. I think all these things now, the social distancing, they're guidelines. Yeah. So although they can suggest it, they cannot enforce it, and they cannot arrest you or fine you.
But that law that they brought in over here only ran to the 5th of May.
That's right.
That's it. After the 5th of May, that was it. So if any guards were employing or doing anything beyond that and using that law, they were stepping outside the jurisdiction.
Exactly. But and, I mean, by that statement alone, they're stepping outside their jurisdiction. So I mean, it's a classic case of this has gone on for so long, even though it's only been a couple of months. It's ingrained into everybody. Even when you're told it only runs up to the 5th of May, they're still trying to enforce it after that, and people are still complying because it's the new norm.
I want to clarify something here with the law as well, and something that Ben said as well, which I thought was very important. I want to say it again. It's for Irish people because it's under Irish law. But here's the thing, right? A guard has to follow the laws of the land, and in their oath of office, their job is to protect your rights under the Constitution. Okay. Now, if a guard does something outside his jurisdiction and goes against what the law states or the Constitution states, then he stops being a guard and he starts being an ordinary man.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And when he becomes an ordinary man, then that means you can sue him as an ordinary man. So if he does something that's outside his job role, then you can sue him. So what I was saying to people, there's no point getting into argy-bargies with the police because they're trained for conflict. But I would say, take the guard's name, take his badge, and if you want, you can explain to him, say, this is why I'm taking your badge, because you're stepping outside your jurisdiction. And now you're an ordinary man, you're not a guard anymore. And I want your details because I'm going to be suing you personally. Not going to sue the guards, I'm going to sue you, because what you did was what an ordinary man would do and not an officer or not a guard or member of the guards. That's the difference.
Yeah, because obviously he will have certain rules and regulations that he needs to adhere to as a guard, as a public servant. And once he acts in a way that is not within the capacity of his role, therefore he's not acting within his role. So if he's not acting within his role, he's acting outside of his role.
Exactly.
So yeah, he's just a man.
He's just a normal man, and like a normal man, you can go and sue them under common law, for, harm, loss or injury. That's the way it works. So you had a good week, an okay week?
Since March, since March, when was the last show? Oh yeah, March 19. Yeah, it's been I've had a good week, Alan. Yeah.
Good.
No, look, it's the same as yourself. I'm still lucky enough, I suppose. I still get to go to work. We're working opposite each other, different shifts. But I still get to go to work. And life, like you're saying, I mean, I didn't really do much anyway. I mean, it's kind of a home board. Similar to yourself, we do what we do around the house. And we're kind of family men, as we've always maintained. And so this hasn't really inconvenienced me too much, I have to say.
No, not really, not really. It's more annoying that people are falling for it.
Yeah.
The whole forcing people to sanitize and they look at you strange if you don't have a mask on, or you're too close, you're 5 feet instead of 6 feet. You know, it gets ridiculous.
What about the one? Have you seen? I'm guessing you have. In some of the shops that have reopened, the one-way system. The footprints on the floor telling you what way to go, and if you walk 10 feet ahead, and then you realise, shit, I forgot the bread. You walk back to get the bread, and people are diving out of your way.
Yeah,
you're going the wrong way. Go round again.
I've seen a video where the guy was actually nearly accosted by somebody, and he said, "But I have to go back." He goes, "No, you have to walk away the whole way around the aisle and come back again." I'm thinking, wow. I mean, this is IKEA on steroids, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But then again, you have to think. I mean, look at IKEA. I mean, geez, long years before any of this came in, they were way ahead.
They were way ahead of it, right? Okay, so there's a few things that we have to talk about, because there's a couple of things that were kind of raised over the last few weeks, and one of them was apparently that OYM has become a conspiracy theory. Would you believe?
No, no.
We have become our own conspiracy theory.
Should we be honoured? I
don't really know. Okay, so we have 4 conspiracy theories apparently got to do with OYM and being Steve, right? So we're going to go through the 4 of them, and then we're going to comment on them, right? By the way, you know, the funny thing is that myself and Steve, we are obviously radio people, amateur radio people, and we talk to each other on a regular basis. Well, not so regular now because your hours are all over the place, but nearly every day we were talking to each other. So the first conspiracy theory is Alan and Steve have fallen out with each other.
Yeah, you emailed me this there about a week or so ago, and we said we'd have to kind of clear all this up. We've fallen out with each other. Alan and I have been friends for 10 plus years. And that hasn't changed, nor is it about to change anytime soon.
Exactly.
For the simple reason, if we want to get into that, we never fell out. We come on the show. We both were on the same path. We knew where we were going, and we knew kind of what we had to do to get there. There were different little projects that we both had in the wings that we at some stage we said we'd like to explore them. We never fell out. I think we both just realised that we had taken at that point in time OYM. I'm not going to say as far this is my opinion now. We had taken OYM to a point where it was a case of if we went on past that point, it would be just like going back to the beginning and we would be rehashing stuff again. So I think we had given people enough information to think about over 9 years. You know, so I mean, there's 9 years worth of podcasts for people to digest. And like I say, I think if we had went past that, in my opinion, we would have got bored, because we would have been kind of just going over the same ground again. And neither of us wanted to do that. Well, I know I didn't. I felt that, you know, we brought it so far. Let people kind of digest that for a while. And while people are getting used to that, we now have a chance to do the other little things, the little projects that we wanted to do. And so we said, we'll have a sabbatical. We were both in an agreement, with that. And that's what we did. And we have been pursuing those things, you know, since that point in time. We still do get emails every week from people who have just discovered OYM.
I'm still doing the admin for OYM.
Yeah.
A year and a bit on. I'm still doing the admin. I'm still doing the website updates and all that. So everything's still running with OYM.
Yeah. The only difference is we're not doing a live show, an OYM live show on a Sunday. But I think that's it. Like, obviously you wanted to concentrate on Circular White Light, which is kind of, it's a little kind of a little askew. It's a little ways off, I suppose, OYM, because OYM was focused on a certain thing. But I think with Circular White Light, you're kind of getting this, you know,
the spiritual side.
It's the spiritual side, and I think
higher energy side, yeah.
And I think if you had just concentrated, or we had to concentrate on the spiritual side on OYM and kind of went down that direction, there would have been other avenues that we weren't going to be exploring. Yeah. And I think it would have just become like probably, you know, people who wanted to talk about the reptilians and blah, 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 all the other things,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly,
I think they
yeah.
would have just got bored. But I think OYM as a whole, I think it encompassed a lot of different, like music, I suppose, genres. We had a lot crammed in, and, you know, you could be talking about spiritual stuff this week, Garabandal the next week, you know,
5G, Wi-Fi.
Yeah. There was a lot covered. There really was.
Loads of different subjects. And Circle of White Light, in no means, is a replacement for OAM, because I just wanted to explore the whole idea of the spiritual side, the 3D, the 5T, and get more into that, more into the esoteric stuff and what's going on that side. And Steve is doing a great show with his wife, Barbara Ann. The two of them are having a good banter. You're at home. And, you know, the thing is that every week, 9 years, every week, you came to the studio. I mean, that's a lot of commitment. It really is. I mean, it's a big commitment.
Yeah, it was a long walk every week.
It was a long walk. But now, at least you have a bit more time on your hands with the Sunday, because you were working 5 days a week. And then you were coming up to me on the Sunday. And that's time away from the family. And I think that extra bit of time now on the Sunday, plus the fact you're doing the show with BA, and Studio 2, it's in Studio 2 where you are. So you don't have to kind of do the drive or any of that stuff, you know?
So I'm with the family all week now. 7 days, Alan.
I know, yeah. So look, at the end of the day, it's never say never. You know, it is what it is. It's a sabbatical, and when the things are right and the plates are spinning and the universe says, right, guys, you know, it's time to get things sorted out, more than likely OAM will come back with a bang, bigger, better, and everything else. I don't know when that will be. Steve doesn't know when that will be. The universe will tell us when that's going to be.
That's it.
But, you know, we're enjoying what we're doing, and just, it's like rock bands do it. They're together for a long time. And then they take a little bit of a break and they go off and do the solo projects and come back even better. And that's the way I see OAM.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the way I see it as well. Like, you know, there was never, and it's just, you know, like people will reply to an email, LOL, laugh out loud. But when I actually got your email, I did LOL. I did laugh out loud because I thought, oh my God, it's amazing, like, you know, what people are saying.
But when we finished in the end of March, right, and people were saying, "Oh, Alan, Steve, I think they're falling out." What did we do a couple of weeks after? We did community radio, the Potato Festival.
That's right, yeah. We did. We set up a local community radio station, and we were down there for the day, and we had a great time.
Yeah,
and as Alan said, like, I mean, we're both involved in ham radio, amateur radio. Well, we'll call it ham radio. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's like CB on steroids.
Okay, I'm going to be very straight. I said this to you before. Myself and Steve have so much in common. If we were gay, we'd probably be lovers, you know? But we're not.
Oh, you're awful.
But no, we do have a lot of similar interests, and that's why, you know, and Steve, as I say, we're radio guys as well. And, you know, the last time I spoke to Steve was actually Friday. I could say, God, Steve, I haven't spoken to you for ages. Well, it was actually Friday when I spoke to Steve.
It was, yeah. Sorry, and just in case anyone else starts spreading any more theories, we're not gay, right? We don't have any problem with people who are gay, but we're not.
Yeah, we're not gay. We're not gay. Well, I'm not gay, but my boyfriend is. So, number one, Alan and Steve have fallen out with each other.
Well, that's put to bed.
That's put to bed, right? Steve left because of Thomas and THI.
Yes, well, you see, I was jealous because you were spending so much time talking to Thomas.
Yeah, well, see, I was attracted to Thomas because of his moustache.
Yeah, his is bushier than mine. No, that couldn't be further from the truth. No, I have to say, I've had several conversations with Thomas, not just on air, but off air as well on Skype. And I know a lot of people have great respect for Thomas, and I have respect for Thomas and what he does and what he stands for. I know there are always going to be two sides to every coin. There are naysayers who will jump on a bandwagon and probably without any proof will start tarring someone because they're doing good, and you know, and some people just don't like that. There are people, as you said before, they'll have they'll have a problem for every solution.
Yeah,
you know, they will no matter what you do, they will find fault in it. And as the old saying goes, and I don't know who said this, it's a saying or a proverb, you know, for the people who say it can't be done, don't stand in the way of the person who's already doing it.
Yeah.
You
know, it goes back to the story, the joke. I always say, you know, the lobster joke.
Yeah.
Right. So the lobster joke, I've said it before about, will I say it? Will I say it again?
I'll go on.
Okay.
We can do it a laugh.
Okay. Lobster joke. Okay. So, there's a man fishing right at the side of the river, and he's catching these lobsters and putting the lobsters into the bucket beside him. So he catches a lobster, puts it in the bucket, catches a lobster, puts it in the bucket. And this American guy is walking down, and he sees the guy fishing, and he notices one of the lobsters at the top of the bucket just about to get out. And he shouts at the Irish guy and goes, "Oi," he said, "watch out, one of the lobsters are going to get out." And the Irish guy says, "Yeah, don't worry about them. The Irish lobsters, once they get to the top, the others pull them down." Right? So so there's always going to be people out there that will pull you down because they don't want to take the energy to do it, but they'll be very critical of what you're doing because, you know, they want to do it, but they don't have the energy to do it. I don't want to take the energy to do it. So there you go. So the third one, okay, so we put that to bed. The third one is Alan and Steve are not using their real names to hide. So we're hiding. Bum, bum, bum. This was such a revelation.
Yeah.
And so, well hidden that we told everybody in OYM multiple times that, and why. Do you want to tell the story why we're using the names that we're using?
Yes, because originally, your family dates back a couple of thousand years to an Indian an African tribe.
African tribe.
Yeah. And your real name is Umfufu. And he just figured, that's not a good name for radio.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, I was thinking of, you know, Alan James Humperdinck, but it just doesn't go, doesn't hump.
Yeah.
Go.
No, look, a long time ago, you see, Alan and I we're at a certain age where we grew up listening to a lot of the pirate radio stations in the 80s, where the DJ, you know, you had to have a cool sounding name, and a lot of them, like there was one Irish DJ. I can't remember his real name, but it could have been something like John Murphy, right? John Murphy doesn't sound like, you know. Here he is, live John Murphy. So he changed his name to Lawrence John, and that was his name.
Yeah,
he was on. I think it was on Sunshine Radio or Nova, but it was Lawrence John. Now that sounds like a professional name. So we decided when we started doing this all those years ago. Well, obviously you cannot be nameless. You must have a name. People need to be able to identify you. So there's no sense in, you know, Alan calling himself Michael and me calling myself, you know, Frank, because that's just ridiculous, you know, because we know who we are. So we decided that instead of using our Christian names and surnames, because it didn't sound cool, we would just use our Christian names and our middle given names, as in Alan James and Stephen George. There you go. There's the mystery.
There's the mystery. There's the conspiracy. Now, we actually decided this before we even started OYM in 2010.
Yeah.
Now, if we were going to hide our names, do you seriously think that we'd be using our first name and our middle name? Only, and it's purely got our ego, really, wasn't it, that we wanted a better name?
Yeah.
You know?
I've no problem with my surname.
No,
and I do use it. If anyone listens to my own show on a Thursday, you'll know that my name is on the screen. I'm not hiding behind anything. Not only is my name there, I think my address is probably, my phone number is there as well. Yeah. So, as is yours.
Yeah, exactly.
On OYM and Circle of White Light, your phone number is there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not some mysterious number that kind of goes halfway around the world through different exchanges and then it's relayed here. It's an actual number to his house, as is mine. Yeah. Seriously. We're not hiding from anything.
When it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's internet phone. So that's so we can actually get rid of that number 3. And number 4, Alan and Steve were gullible when it came to Thomas and the Trust.
Well, if I can just jump in there and say, I don't look at myself as being gullible, because years of kind of questioning stuff has brought me to a place whereby no matter what people say to me, I will take it, as the saying goes, with a grain of salt. If it's something that interests me and I want to know more about it, I'll do my research and my homework. And I know Alan is the very same. Now, Thomas, we had been doing this for quite a long time. Thomas then came on the radar, and as we always maintained as well, that things happen for a reason. You know, there are no kind of coincidences. Things do happen for a reason. And Thomas Williams and the People's Trust and THI, Truth, Honour and Integrity, came on the radar for a reason. It was obviously meant to happen. So Thomas has been giving us some great information, and he's been on the show on OYM many times where he has shared the information, well, as much as he could. Now, at the end of the day, I have, as I said, I've no qualms with Thomas Williams or what Thomas stands for. I've spoken to him many times. I think he's a genuine, nice individual. There are people who do believe that he's doing what he's doing for other reasons. Well, do you know what? If that's what you think, fine. But like everything else, don't just say it. If you have proof, then offer the proof. Otherwise, you know, how can you expect people to believe anything you say unless you offer some, you know, a shred of evidence? It's like a court case. You know, if there's no evidence, well, then what's your case built on?
Well, these are the conspiracy theories. That's the four of them.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of, you know, rubbish. And if this is the case with other people being accused of conspiracy theories, then where do they stand?
Exactly, yeah.
You know, same thing. So there you go, folks. 4 conspiracy theories which are complete rubbish that are out there on the internet about myself and Steve and OYM Radio. We just put them to bed once and for all, you know. Okay, so we have a list of topics that we're going to go through because obviously with everything that's gone on over the year and a bit that we've been off air on OYM Radio. Myself and Steve over the years on OYM, we always said that this would happen. This whole idea of quarantine or martial law would happen. We didn't know what way it would happen, but we knew it would happen. But we thought that they'd have troops on the ground and possibly EU troops because there's no point, you know, putting Irish troops on the ground because they'd sympathise with the locals. So we thought, you know, they'd be getting the EU troops ready to come in and they'd have no sympathy with the Irish nationality, the Irish people, and just abuse them. But I couldn't believe, now we didn't know it would be a virus, but we couldn't believe that Irish people were just going to conform to what the government said and then start policing themselves as well. You know, the sheep, you know, watching the sheep, policing the sheep. And so we were a bit blown away by that. But for years on OYM, we did say that this was going to happen. And we were told, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist and everything else thrown in there. But, you know, how's quarantine working for everybody now? You know, I'm not being smug when I say that, but we said it was going to happen because when you have an idea of what game is going to be played and what the elites are going to do in the future, then you have kind of knowledge that you can tell people and say, well, this is what they're going to try and do. And this is it. This is what they're you know, this is what's happened. It's just that we're a bit shocked that it was people governing themselves and, you know, doing exactly what the government tell them to do.
Well, I never thought in a million years that this would happen. As you said, we always kind of maintained that it will be martial law that will be brought in. Because in my opinion, that's the only way you can force people to do something or to comply is to, you know, force them. And for something like this to happen, whereby the government didn't have to twist your arm, they didn't have to get you up against a wall. He's messing with the mouse.
Go ahead. I'm just making your text bigger.
He's making me text bigger. Brushing up against me like that very seductively, I must say. But I never thought that people would just kind of roll over. I mean, essentially that's what they did. And all it took, when you think about it, all it took was Event 201 that still a lot of people, and this is the weirdest thing ever, you can say to people, have you seen Event 201? No. Well, do you know what? Look at that first, will you? Because we can't really have a conversation about this virus, whether it's real or whether the lockdown is necessary, until you go and just have a quick look at that. And people go, no, I'm not interested in that. You go, no, but you have to look at it, because when you look at it, you realise this scenario, what we're doing right now, has been played out. It's like they ran a test, and the test was successful. So they go, right, let's implement that. and people, but people still don't know about it.
Did I show you the movie clip that some movie or some TV program from 2003, and exactly what's in the movie is exactly
you did. You sent that to me during the week, and even that, when you look at the likes of that, you realise, holy that was out in a movie many years ago. And obviously, all it was a line, a cleverly written line in the movie that some writer had stuck in there. And then you start to wonder, was this writer, he or she, trying to tell us something? Yeah. And as you said before, they always tell us. They always
have to tell us, yeah.
So like, you have all this scenario that has played out beautifully, and all it really took in Ireland was our Taoiseach, Mr. Leo Varadkar, from our caretaker government at the moment.
Hang on, that means he's not a Taoiseach then?
Well, no, he's not actually.
Because we don't actually have technically a government.
Well, technically no, because we had an election and then all this kicked off, so we have a caretaker government. But I don't know, it's a bit of a grey area. But we'll just call him Mr. Varadkar then. Yeah. He stood up, and all he did was, on the 6 o'clock news, stood there and said some words into a camera and moved his hands about, and made some faces, and people believed it. Yeah. That's all you have to do.
So we've had Tweedledum and Tweedledee for 100 years.
Yep.
And we've had all the issues and the exposés of things that happened over the years, of things, the incompetence of the government. And people are saying, and people who know about this, listen to the government.
Yeah. That's it.
It just begs belief, doesn't
it? It makes you ashamed to be human. Not even ashamed to be yours, ashamed to be human. That the fact that life on this planet, or plane, whatever floats your boat, has pretty much ground to a halt, and will continue to be ground to a halt for a long time to come. All because of some idea that somebody had, because they had their own agenda. Maybe it's world domination, or maybe it's to microchip everybody or vaccinate everyone on the planet. I don't know. But life as we know it has really ceased for every human being. It's
unreal that they just make a few gestures and say something on TV, and everybody falls for it. But also, here's the thing regarding the media. The media are just having a wet dream at the moment, right? They really are, because I'll tell you why. RTE and the BBC were concerned that the young people don't tune in to their rubbish anymore, right?
Correct.
They go on the internet and they get all the information from there. Yeah. I mean, my son, Connor, and probably your kids as well, they don't watch TV. They don't watch BBC and all these. They go on the internet and get the information from there. So they're all crapping themselves because the BBC, the government said that you can't charge a TV license anymore in the UK, right? And RTE should be the same thing. It should be, if you want to make money and you think your product is good, then put your money where your mouth is, drop the license, and then advertise. Well, they advertise. See, the BBC at least don't have adverts.
Correct, yeah.
Right? Yeah. But in Ireland, we're just thick paddies, because we let RTA advertise, get money, and also pay a TV license.
Yeah. So that's kind of like double whammy for them.
Double whammy, yeah. So the media were going, God, this is brilliant. Everybody's tuning in now. Our figures are up. So they keep milking it because this is what they're doing.
Yeah, and what have they done on RTE? They, as soon as all this kicked off on RTE, you know the way you have a little dog up in the corner, the digital online graphic as they call it, the dog, on most of the channels, RTE's changed to stay at home. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was, someone copped it, I think it was during one of the broadcasts of the Late Late Show. The graphic just kind of changed from RT1 or whatever it says to stay at home. So even they're subliminal. I'm sorry, well, I suppose it's not even subliminal. I suppose it is subliminal, I suppose, to an extent, but it's in your face.
It would be.
And what they done almost immediately was they were able to, because children weren't going to school, they were able to have all these online. Oh, not online, sorry, on RTE, I think it's RTE2, programs, like school programs for children. So therefore, you sit your child down in front of the TV from first thing in the morning, under the guise of educating them. And I've seen some of the programs, and you'd be better off, like, I don't know, cutting the grass and showing your child how to cut the grass or something, you know.
How to do something constructive.
Constructive and practical. Because some of these things that they were shown, it's just, what do we call it for? Chewing gum for the mind.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
And obviously the whole time this program was on, these different programs, it's still set up in the top right-hand corner, stay at home.
Yeah.
You know.
It's definitely George Orwell, 1984. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're trying to do. What's your take on the old masks and the gloves?
The masks and the gloves, I believe it's a sign of submission. I believe from my perspective, if I'm out and about and I see people wearing the mask and the gloves, it's like, you know, before you be out and about and you could be shopping and there could be, I don't know, 50 other people in the shop, and you have no idea the mindset of any of those people. You don't know if they believe all the government spin or if they kind of believe any of the old conspiracies. You don't know what way they think. Now you can look at people and you can go, close-minded. You know, you can now tell at a glance.
Yeah.
But then I suppose the opposite of that is true, because now they can look at us and go, conspiracy theorists.
It works both ways. But I noticed that when I was going shopping, when it first started, there was people using a lot of gloves and stuff like that. Not so much the mask, but the gloves. But now when you go shopping, there's very, very few people. If I go into Super Value, go into Aldi, there's very few people actually using gloves and using masks. And yes, they have the sanitizer at the start, and it's funny, right? So they've the sanitizer at the Super Value. So you use the sanitizer on the trolley. I've been observing this going shopping.
So you have to sanitize your own trolley.
So you sanitize your own trolley, right?
Do you work for Super Value?
No. I don't bother. I don't waste my time with that.
There should be someone there doing that.
There should be. So you sanitize your own trolley and you go in, right? And of course, bear in mind that food had to come from somewhere, and somebody had to have their hands on it and put it on the shelf.
True,
right?
Yeah.
So you're picking up, even with your gloves on, you're picking up the food products and putting them in your trolley, and then you're walking around and you're doing that, and you get to the checkout, and there's this big screen in the way, and then you put your food on the conveyor belt, and then the member of staff touches all your food while she scans it and gives it to you.
No.
And then you put the food in, and then you come home, and then the only thing you can do is get your baby wipes or whatever and wipe everything down. Right? And God knows what's on your gloves, because if you're still wearing your, it's just nuts. People have no concept of bacteria, and you can do whatever you want to do on sanitizing. But literally, all it takes is for you to touch the wrong thing with something on it. If that was the case, say like if there was germs, and you could infect somebody. That's how it's impossible if you have gloves on. If you think wearing gloves is going to help you, forget about it. If anything, they prove that gloves are worse. They carry more bacteria. You're better off just using sanitizing it on your hands.
Well, it's just like what Dougie's out there putting up there on the chat. When you breathe, you exhale moisture. The masks then get wet. Bacteria loves a wet environment. You then breathe into bacteria, and your skin gets contaminated with the bacteria. And I mean, and even the likes of people, and I've seen it, and you've seen it too, and you laugh at it. People driving along in their vehicle on their own with masks and gloves. Did
you hear about the guy crashing his car with asphyxiation? He just or maybe he was what you call it, hyperventilating, but crashed his car.
I mean, that's wow. You want to be careful.
It just gets nuts.
It's like being in the car and when someone farts in the car.
Yeah,
you have to crack a window open.
Exactly, definitely. So we have the virus, we have the lockdown, the social distancing, which is just ridiculous now. That's getting like stupid. And what I don't like is the new norm. This idea of pushing, this is the new norm, because our kids, my Connor's 19 now this year. Sam is okay. James 19, is kind of okay. Holly wouldn't know, so she's going to be grown up with the new norm. And she wouldn't really know what it was like before the new norm.
No.
No. And they'll just treat that. So Holly's age would be, that generation would grow up thinking that was the norm.
Yeah.
If we let them get away with it.
That's it. That's the key. That's the key to the whole thing. If our generation let them get away with it, and if we do, then I think we may bend over, as I said before, learn some yoga, because you're going to need to know yoga when you're bending over to kiss your arse goodbye.
Yeah.
We can't let this happen because it's everyone agrees it's a step too far. Yeah. It's definitely the Orwellian state that George Orwell. I mean, he'd be turned in his grave if he thought that humanity had actually let it come to this after he gave us the bloody warning.
Well, it wasn't fiction, it was a documentary, as you say.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, I did hear on the news the other day that a lot of people ignored the rules over in the UK, and a lot of people went to Southend-on-Sea, apparently, onto the beach, and there were so many people there, the local councillor said, what can we do? There's too many people. Now, does that not give people a hint? There's more of us than there is of them. And if we all turned up en masse, they'll just say the same thing. What can we do? There's too many of them.
You're going to mass?
Well, no.
Sorry.
En masse.
I thought you meant in mass. I was just visualising you in a church.
God, no. I'd burn, I think.
You wouldn't get in the door. You'd burst into flames.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there, and that's it. There are more of us than there are of them. They can make the regulations and they can make guidelines. At the end of the day, people inherit the earth, and the meek shall inherit the earth. So I'm proud to be meek. We need to just get out there and just life needs to continue. Life needs to get back to the old normal. Okay, some people are going to say, well, hang on a second. No, the old normal was lots of cars on the road and pollution and global warming and all that. Well, we all can't just stay home. We can't do that either. For our own sake and our own sanity, I think the countries need to get. I'm sure what's coming next? Another recession. There's another recession on the way. The second
wave, which is again, because this was the tester. Let's see how gullible the people are.
Yeah,
and let's see how acquiescent they are by doing what they're told when we tell them. And that worked fantastic. Yeah. So let's have a second wave in September, October, and we'll do the same thing.
We're like putty in their hands now. They know, they've already known by even the amount of people wearing the masks and stuff and all that, and downloading the app and policing your neighbour and reporting your neighbour. They know exactly where they have us now. And as the old saying goes, they have us by the short and curlies. And I think you're right. And I was kind of hearing the same information as well, that you'd be kind of looking at September will be the second wave. And you think we've lost some rights now. Come September, we're going to lose a hell of a lot more rights.
Well, let me correct you on that, because they will bring in any positive law they want.
Correct, yeah.
But it does not.
Doesn't supersede
the Constitution. Okay. Let's keep, and we will at the end be talking about the positive stuff as well, as we normally do on OYM. We'll be talking about the positive stuff, but it does not supersede the Constitution. And people are a bit in fear about the whole idea of the mandatory vaccine. We'll nip that on the bud. We'll talk about that again at the end, and we'll keep it positive, okay?
Yeah. Can I just mention as well, I've seen some other stuff on the World Wide Web. I don't know how genuine it is. I've said this a couple of times. I don't know how genuine it is, because I haven't looked into it. But if it is true, then it's also very scary for if and when the children are let back to school. A school in China, there was video footage on the internet of the child going in before he was sprayed with, I'm going to say DDT, but it wasn't DDT, right? He was sprayed with something before going into school, had to dispose his mask and gloves at the door, went into the school gates, had to sanitize himself, and was issued with a new mask. So therefore they're going to be wearing the masks in China. Well, okay, fine. People have always worn masks in China, so let them do what they believe is the right thing to do. But I also seen a picture of children in a kindergarten, and they had a 6 foot by 6 foot square. I was going to say circle. A 6 foot by 6 foot square in which to play.
Square circle.
A square circle. Yeah. So therefore, removing social interaction between children, you can't do that.
I was going to ask you, because my son's now finished the school side of things anyway. Okay, we're going to be looking at college, but not in college, not in the indoctrination part, something practical. And Sam has finished school.
Yeah.
She's working. But you've got James and Holly.
Hang on. Sorry. Let me just correct you there. She's not working.
Oh, she's not working. Okay.
No.
Right. But you still have Holly and James to be concerned about. What's going to happen with their schools if they start bringing in this rubbish to you?
Honestly, we've touched on this. We haven't had a real kind of sit down. Let's tease this one out until we hear the new narrative. But basically, if there's going to be any of this, as I will refer to it as shite going on, then we have said, in a kind of a light manner, that we would consider homeschooling. One of us would bite the bullet and stay at home and homeschool.
Yeah.
Because I am not going to have the other two going back to education to go into this. I don't even have a word for it. This kind of new society, because it's not what I was reared up to believe. I believe children need to be children. They need to mix with other children. You cannot expect people to sit 6 feet apart and not interact.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
they
not,
may
it's
as well
not
be
natural.
It's not natural, and they may as well be robots.
Yeah. No, it's not natural. But here's the thing, and this is obviously nothing to do with the lockdown. But when I was in business, I had to fly down to Johannesburg. I was down there for a week to do some business IT stuff. And one of the things they did on the flight, right, when we were, I'm not sure whether it was when we were going to be taken off, either when we were landing or taken off, but they went down the whole aisle while the people were sitting in the seats and sprayed the whole aisle, right, with spray. Now, nobody turned around and said to me, asked me, by the way, we're going to be doing this. Are you happy about this? If not, do you want to step off the plane or go somewhere? Yeah. They just did it automatically. So I don't know whether you're going to have to be proactive with Holly and James and send a letter to the school and say, I'm letting you know now that I'm not accepting any of this stuff. And if you want to do that, you contact me. Do not assume that I agree to this, because they might think that you're going to all assume to it,
Yeah. Well, look, I'll say we will cross that bridge when we receive correspondence. But, I mean, from what we've heard anyway, it's not looking like schools are not going to be reopening anytime soon. I know there is kind of speculation floating around. So some people were saying that they reckon it will open up in September. And then somebody, we heard, now this cannot be quoted, don't quote me in this, because although I did hear it from someone who was involved in the education, the kind of Department of Education, even at that, it's speculation. But they were kind of saying that the word on the street is that schools will not reopen in September, and we could be looking at maybe next March. That's kind of what they're speculating, but we don't know.
God, we'll have to, and a lot could happen by next March.
Yeah.
That's incredible. The next thing we have on the list, and really kind of more so you than me, Simon Harris has said that there's free vaccines for kids between the age of 2 and 12. I know what your stance is on that. Well,
that's nice. I mean, Simon Harris can say that all day long. It won't affect me in any way, shape or form, unless Simon Harris and the rest of the Gombeans are going to try and make this mandatory and try and enforce it. Well, they can try, but at the end of the day, as you say, 41.1 about the family, Article 41, that's what I'll be quoting. But
see, over in the UK, before I moved back, when we were talking about putting Connor, my son, into school, the school were saying you had to have your MMR.
Correct, yeah.
And all the vaccines before you go into the school, right? And that's one of the reasons, along with a few others, why we said, no way, we're not doing that. That's not right, right? So that might be, again, it's not about the forced vaccines, but they might say, oh, well, no, she won't be able to come into school until she has the vaccine.
That's fine. We'll homeschool her.
Yeah.
Because as we've seen before, people say, well, this is the vaccine, and then you go, okay, right, that's the vaccine, happy days, yeah. What's in it? Is there anything in it that I need to be concerned about? Because at the end of the day, the family, 41.1, this is my child.
Yeah.
And although, unless you've been listening to OYM for quite some time, you won't understand what I'm about to say next, but, do some research. You'll say, this child is my property. She is my property.
Yeah.
And if you're going to inject something into my property that's going to damage or endanger her life, then I need to know, I need full disclosure as to what exactly is in there.
Yeah, exactly. And indemnity of 100 million.
Ooh, like the sound of that.
Why not? You
Yeah.
know, if they believe that the vaccines are safe, then put your money where your mouth is. That's just the way it is. So there's a lot of kind of issues there that will need to be addressed, because they will try and force it, and it's up to everybody to stand up and speak up. Because, at the end of the day, if parents want to go off, and because there are parents turning around and saying, I'm not going to let my child go to school until the vaccines are out, right?
Yeah.
So you're always going to get the sheeple doing that, right? And at the end of the day, if their kids have the vaccine, then why are they concerned if your child is not vaccinated, because they've been vaccinated?
Exactly.
So why would it affect them?
Yeah. Plus, look back to when we were children, and you still have it today, what's known as the herd immunity. And, like, there are certain diseases today. And, like people are saying, oh, you have to get them vaccinated against measles because, measles can kill you. I had measles. I don't know if I should be saying it here now on this on this forum, but I had measles and I didn't die. And in fact, when I grew up, if a child on the road had measles, happy days, get over and play with him. What? He'd get over and play with him.
Yeah.
And you went over and you played with the child who had measles.
Yeah.
Why? So you would get the measles to therefore kick your immune system into touch, and you would then build up an immunity against it.
That's it.
But you have to, that can only happen through the herd immunity.
Yeah.
And if they're going to socially isolate and separate people in schoolyards and children, therefore people won't be kind of getting that close where they'll catch anything.
Yeah.
So where's your immune system going to be? Totally dependent on pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. And this social distancing doesn't help, because you have to mingle and mix and everything else.
Of course,
that's how you build up your immune system.
She can't shake hands with people. No high five. I mean, I met a guy the other day, and before he came along, he was coming to the job. He was getting something out of he's the owner, the key holder of the new warehouse that we're moving into. And I went over, I opened up, was waiting for him to arrive. And I'm stood there and I'm thinking, now when he arrives, I've spoke to him on the phone once. I've never met the chap. So when he arrives, do I shake hands with, do I offer me hand, or what do I do? I didn't know what to do. And I thought, that's ridiculous. Anyway, he came along, and the first thing he said, he introduced himself, and I said, do we shake hands or what do we do? And he says, oh, I suppose we just bump shoulders or elbows. And I said, well, okay, yeah, whatever works, and nice to meet you. But I mean, even the likes of that, when you meet someone, I mean, your natural reaction as a human being is, you offer your hand in friendly gesture, and that's it. You
know what I say? Because I met a neighbour of mine in the Super Value there a couple of weeks ago. And normally when I see her, I'd normally, we'd give each other a hug,
Yeah.
And, but this time when we met each other, I said, look, I'm not going for this social distancing thing at all. But I said, I'm doing it out of respect for you. Because I said, I don't believe it, but I'm doing it out of respect for you.
Yeah.
He said, thanks for doing that. Because, regardless of my opinion on it, if she feels that there's a virus out there that's, deadly like the Black Plague, then I have to respect her wishes, right?
True. Could you imagine, though, if you had a hugged? Oh, my God, all those people around you.
Yeah. I know, yeah, they would have been shocked. But the thing is, if people haven't seen it, the UK health expert came out, and I posted this up on Facebook, by the way. So this is the UK government came out and said, right, the majority of people will not get this virus. Then he said, the people who do get it are symptomatic, which means that they'll get it, but they'll probably feel a little bit iffy with it and go to bed, and then you'll be fine. The people who need to go to hospital with it will be sorted out with oxygen treatment. And then the small percentage will, obviously, it'll be severe and they'd need treatment and they could die. And I said, but that sounds like the flu.
Yep, doesn't it?
Sounds exactly like the flu. And this is the UK government health expert. This is not, just a video on YouTube. They're saying it. So we need to stop thinking that this is the whole deadly, plague that's out there. And it's not at all. And this is what people are thinking. That's why we have an immune system. But the problem is, Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton, who was talking about epidemiology, said about how the mind works, and you either are happy and you're positive, or you're down and negative. And if you're in fear, then that will create stress, which will reduce your immune system, and you'll end up getting something. And we have viruses in us all the time.
Yeah.
So,
and they live quite happily. We coexist. No problem.
Yeah, we have this thing called an immune system, which we keep saying. You know,
yeah.
That's why it's there, you know. And of course, you know, obviously they're pushing a vaccine because God made such a shit job with our immune system that we need to have this poison pumped into us.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, if you're going to catch something naturally, there is a process. I mean, we've said this before. Like, if you're going to catch a disease, then if it's airborne, then it will force go into your nasal passage. It will be in there. It will kind of, you know, in a nice wet kind of damp place with your mucus. It will do what it needs to do there. It'll multiply, then it'll get into your system. But once it gets into your nasal passage, your immune system recognises that there's something going on, and it starts kicking into gear to try and tackle it. And that's the natural process. That's what I've been told anyway. I'm not a doctor. But when people give you an injection, it bypasses all the kind of the 4 stages of your body being introduced to a virus. It goes straight in. So before your body has a chance to react and build antibodies, this thing is in there and multiplying itself. And I know they say, well, we don't use a live virus in the shot. But, you know, there's a lot of other crap in there as well. Like the thimerosal, the mercury, the aluminium, and other stuff that is alien to our immune system and should not be in there.
Totally. By the way, this vaccine that Simon Harris is giving out is the flu vaccine.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Now,
but look, Alan, they promote the flu vaccine every year. You cannot go past a chemist or a Boots, whatever it is, and every kind of flu season, even though it's not a season, but we're just going to say that because people kind of say, oh, the flu season, you see free vaccinations for the over 65s, and they're promoting the vaccines. And I've noticed from speaking with people that a lot of people who are, you know, should be availing of the free flu vaccine every year, they're not doing it for a lot of reasons. One is, I got it a couple of years ago and I got a bad dose of the flu after it. You know, so obviously they're going to keep making the vaccines. And then if there's no uptake in them, they're going to have all these vaccines. They have to shift them, for God's sake. You have to get rid of them.
Let's do the business on it. But if you've had the flu vaccine in the last 10 years, you're 36% more likely to get the coronavirus, right? 36% more because of the flu vaccine, right? Because the tests don't work, right? Because they're checking for RNA, which everybody has, rather than the proper virus data that's, you know, they're looking for. Now, the business is, the government is brilliant. The government turn around and go, we're going to give the kids from 2 to 12 free vaccines. It's not free because the government don't have any money. They have air money. And what they do is they buy the vaccines from the pharmaceutical company, which has a sell-by date, and they have to push them and push them and push them before the sell-by date. Otherwise, you can't use them. So that money is completely wasted. That's how it works. So when the government say we're giving away for free, no, it's our taxpayers' money that bought them and the sell-by date on them. That's how it works. Okay. 5G, the 5G rollout during the lockdown, that was quite convenient, wasn't it?
Clearly an essential thing that had to be done. Obviously, there's a timescale, and you know the last thing you want, I suppose, are for people asking questions when all this infrastructure is getting erected or getting put on the pre-existing poles with the stickers going on saying, you know, radiation. Now, there's a danger of radiation. The last thing you want are people asking questions. What's that? What does that mean? You know, you need to kind of do it under the cover of darkness, so to speak. So make sure all the people are staying at home and cocooning and all this BS, and then roll it out.
Can you tell me what the essential, what is essential of rolling out 5G? Why is that so important? Why did these guys have to put their lives at risk to roll out 5G?
I'll tell you why. Because you see, now, after all these people have been at home in the lockdown complying, a lot of businesses in Ireland have gone to the wall, they've gone under. So therefore, you may have had a job in March, but chances are when your job when the stage 2 or phase 2 comes in and your job should be reopening, chances are it's probably gone to the wall and it may not reopen. So therefore, you ain't got a job to go back to. So you see, now, you don't want to be sitting at home now, whinging at the government. So obviously they're going to make sure that you have 5G, the new 5G. So therefore that'll be another distraction. You'll be able to, you're talking about no money coming in and, you have no job and all this. But hey, I can download a movie in 2 seconds. Wow, isn't that going to be great? Well, yeah, it's obviously essential because, and this is the one where you have to kind of put your tinfoil hat on. It can be used, from what we've seen and what we've heard from experts, the 5G technology, because of where it is, it's nanometer wavelength, and it's up around 60 plus gigahertz. It can be used as a weapon. Now, some people are going, no, it can't. Don't be ridiculous. The science is there and the science doesn't lie. And most people who are pro 5G will quote the science and they'll say, no. If it was at such and such a power, yes, it could be, damaged, could burn you or whatever. But this is only like 5 milliwatts. Well, anyone, and Alan and I, as we said, and everyone knows, we're involved in radio communications, and we know that the legal limit for using a particular frequency in Ireland is 4 watts. But we also know that we can turn up the power. When no one's looking, you can kind of go, okay, 4, 5, 10, 20, 100. It can be turned up. Okay? So if something can cause cancers, is a known carcinogen, is in the ionizing part of the spectrum, the radiation spectrum, and for people to say, no, it's at such a low level that it won't do any harm. Well, even at a low level, it's just like, to me, it would be like a low-powered microwave, whereby it won't cook you in 1 minute. It might cook you, it might take 10 years, but it will eventually, it will cause you harm. That's just my opinion. Over time, and also it's the frog in the saucepan. Turn it up bit by bit, Also, I heard, by the way, when they say non-ionizing radiation and there's safe limits, that's like saying that, if you smoke 5 cigarettes a day, you won't get cancer, but if you smoke 20 a day, you will get cancer. No, you'll probably still get cancer with 5 cigarettes a day. It's just going to take longer maybe for it to happen, as an example. The other thing is the power of the 60 gigahertz, because what I've seen being said is that, forget about the coronavirus at the moment, is that the 60 gigahertz on high power will actually cause you respiratory problems. That's what they're saying,
It has an effect on your lungs and the starvation of oxygen or something similar. Now, that's on very high power, because we know that the military have these devices. They have directional antennas for crowd control. And what they do is they point the antenna at the crowd, turn on the 5G frequency, and it sends a beam of radiation at the crowd. And the crowd feel like they're being burnt, like they're being cooked in a microwave, and they have to run away from it, which is all about, what they want to do for crowd control. So imagine that happening to people with 5G turned up in an omnidirectional way, which is all around you rather than sending it one way. So this is what we're dealing with. And of course, what's going to happen is, and I have it down here as an alternative, is that it might be the case that you will not be able to use a mobile phone unless you have 5G on the phone. So even if you say, I don't want 5G on my phone, I want to stick with the 2.4 gigahertz, or on that frequency, chances are, when you want to stay with the 3G, 4G, I can tell you now, that will go, because they'll force everybody to go 5G, because they want to roll out the internet of everything. They'll know exactly what's in your fridge, and they'll be controlled, and the smart meters for your power and everything else. It's all about the internet of everything. So they need 5G because of the high frequency and the speed of it. That's exactly why they need it. Plus the fact that Elon Musk has a sky train up in the air now. He's launched it, and people are going, oh, is that UFO? No, that's Elon Musk's 5G sky train beaming down Wi-Fi. And that movie...
Isn't that convenient too, by the way? Because now if people were to look up and go, oh, I've seen a UFO. No, you didn't. No, it's Elon Musk. So for all we know, maybe UFOs were going to start making an appearance, or maybe they were going to be more prominent in the night sky, which are now people go, no, it's not. It's only Elon Musk.
What's the movie where they roll out the Secret Service movie? Kingsman. Right, where he gives everybody a SIM card for free, and then the frequency he actually generates with the SIM card in the phone makes them more violent and they start attacking each other. And we know from interviewing Barry Trower with Tetra that frequency also causes the guards to be more violent.
That's correct, yeah.
So maybe that's the case with 5G. So we will eventually be everywhere will be 5G. So what's the alternative if we don't want to upgrade our phone to 5G? How do we communicate? Well, it goes back to radio, fun and games, back to the 80s where we had CB radio.
I thought you were going to say messenger pigeons.
Well, that too, yeah. Yeah. Well, you can use them and then eat them after, you know.
Okay.
So I think we might have to go back to CB radio.
Well, I only said to Alan there a couple of weeks back, we've been involved in this for quite a long time, as you know. And over the past couple of months, there has been an influx in people getting back on CB radio. Now, look, people know where like our standpoint in this. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think everybody should be on it. It's a great means of communication. It's free. Okay, it's not secure, but it's definitely free. But
then again, mobiles aren't either.
No, they're not. No, and I think everyone should have, not even for daily use, but have one as a prepper, because when the cell tower goes down, guess what? You haven't got a signal, and that doesn't like one cell tower in a small village goes down. That's it. The whole village is without mobile communication, and I think the likes of the CB radio, not even CB, even the likes of the PMR, also. I think we need to have a backup just for communication purposes, especially if you consider yourself a closet conspiracy theorist. You should have this, and just in case, so that and if the proverbial excrement hits the fan, then we should be able to communicate with each other. Yeah, in an ideal world, I suppose.
Well, I think so. Well, all preppers will say to have some kind of radio communication. And CB radio, there's no license. You don't need a license. They've done away with that in 1998. So you don't need a license to go out and buy a CB radio. You can pick one up tomorrow, and then you'd be up and running straight away. And then myself and Steve on OYM did a tutorial intro to CB radio. Remember we did that? You remember we did that?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't remember.
Did we?
If you go over to Open Your Mind Radio, the YouTube channel, myself and Steve did an intro video to CB Radio. So if you want to go over there, you'll actually find the video there, showing you about CB Radio.
Okay. I've no recollection. I remember the one where we drove down the road with the fan out the window.
No, I don't know. We did it. I did. The reason why I know that is because somebody asked me for it the other night.
All right.
And we were actually talking about that the other night. I was in a Zoom meeting, and I was actually we were talking about CB radio, and they were asking me about radio and how it worked and stuff like that. And was it difficult? And I said, not at all. I said, you'll pick it up very quick,
Yeah.
And it's just handy to have it in the cupboard with an antenna just in case something happens. And even if the power goes in your house, you can take the car battery out of your car and still power the CB and still use it. So look, there's loads of benefits there. And there's more and more people, as Steve said, coming back now. Not just the CBers, but the amateur guys are coming back as well.
Yeah. It's amazing because there's so many new people actually coming on the air. Like I was talking to our mutual acquaintance that we have, like say we, as people know, we're involved in the CB. We're also licensed amateur ham radio operators too. And one of our mutual acquaintances was telling me only, I think it was Friday, Thursday or Friday.
Well, we had six of us on the channel on Friday.
Yeah, and he was also saying that in his area that there are at least a little network of I think he said 7 or 8 people just back on the old CB band.
Yeah.
You know, so it's gaining popularity.
Yeah. So it's something to consider if you don't want 5G, and you can put a CB in your house, you can put a CB in your car, and you can communicate from your car to your house, right? And if anybody wants any advice on it, then just send me an email or Steve an email and we'll help you with it, because we've been down this road. We were involved in CB radio in the 80s. That's how old we are. And some people still have CB radios from the 80s.
I do, yeah.
But
I have one from I got one when I was 13.
Yeah.
I still have it. Yeah, there you go. I don't throw anything out.
Nostalgia is dead, you know. I should say nostalgia isn't dead.
Sorry, can I just answer a question very quickly? On the chat room, do they still produce CB radio? Yes. If you do a search for CB radio, you'll find stockists in your local area, or probably not too far away. There are many here. Well, there's a couple in Ireland that are they're on the internet. You just search for CB Radio Ireland and they will pop up. Or if you're outside of Ireland, just obviously put in your country, and you will find that there are still many places, quite a lot actually, that do ham radio and CB gear, radios, antennas, and all the bits and pieces that you may require.
And you'd probably spend the same money on a CB radio that you'd spend on a phone. Probably even less.
Hang on, how much is an iPhone?
No, not on iPhones. No, I'm not talking about an iPhone. I'm talking about if you say 150 quid.
150 quid would get you on the air.
Get you on the air. 150 quid euros would get you on the air.
Compared to the likes of, I mean, when you see the price of the iPhones, madness.
Yeah. So again, part of this is understanding what you want to do with it, and understanding how it works and how far you want to talk on it, because there is a lot of contributing factors with the technology. We won't get into it now, but it's just something to bear in mind. But if you are curious about it, send us an email, and I'll send you the link to the tutorial that we did regarding CB radio. Okay, the next thing on the list is child trafficking tunnels. Have you heard anything much about what's going on regarding the?
I'll be honest, Alan, very briefly, and you mentioned it to me before we went live, and I had heard, I heard of it in passing, but I didn't actually, I didn't pursue it. I didn't look into it. It just, I'm not going to say it didn't interest me, but the subject matter was, it's one that just, it makes me sick to think that it actually goes on, and it was like I can see it there, but I'm not going any closer, you know. But yeah. I know you've looked into it quite a bit, and I know it was it Ted Gunderson? I think it was Ted.
Ted Gunderson.
Ted Gunderson did tell us many years ago about all this, and even then it was harrowing to listen to.
These, honest to God, I haven't gone into it fully. I've just heard other people talking about what they've reported of what was going on, and it's just, these people are sick. They're just sick. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. They're just sick, and these people, there's no way you could actually turn them around, rehabilitate them. You couldn't. You know, they're beyond that. So I don't know, but I will say that if you look at the satellite photos, apparently of Guantanamo Bay, I'll just get that right. Yeah. The old pictures, it doesn't look much of a facility, but the new pictures, it's actually expanded.
Yeah.
And of course, the rumor is it's expanded for a reason, because there's going to be people visiting there.
Oh, right.
Part of the Trump QAnon stuff. Now, I don't know what your how you feel about that, the Trump QAnon, whether you looked at it, whether you believe it, you know, what you're feeling on it.
Honestly, I would, like everything else, I would take that with a pinch of salt, because every now and again something will be released from Q, and you'll kind of go, that's great, it's positive, it's a step in the right direction. And then you kind of look at it on the flip side, and you kind of go, well, that could be just information being put out there because, okay, people have to tell us what's going on. Maybe it just could be information getting released to give a false sense of security, or a false sense of something or other, to take the spotlight off, whatever may be going on at the time. It's like everything else. Show me the proof. You know, if as Donald Trump said, he was going to, in his own words, drain the swamp, and we kind of see, depending on where you look on Facebook too, there's a lot of, is it after 9 o'clock? No, I can't say BS. Well, I won't. But you know, he's getting he's getting kind of ridiculed from one quarter of you know, the political system over there. Why? Because, well, he said he's going to do something, and maybe they're afraid, maybe they've got something to hide. And they're all trying to get him, they were trying to get him impeached and all that. Why? Well, maybe because they probably have something to hide, and they don't want it being made public. But which is mad, because it's already been proven time and time again that no matter what you do, sure, you get away with it anyway. Might get a slap. Well, certainly here, you get a slap on the wrist and a promotion. But if Donald Trump does as he says, and he drains the swamp, and those people who have, you know, on the conspiracy theorists list for years of people who had done bad things, especially to children, you know, if we see them ending up in the likes of, I'm going to say Gitmo Bay. Gitmo. Because I'll trip over the proper pronunciation. You know, then I might be more of a believer, but, you know.
Well, I have looked into this in a kind of biggish kind of way. Yeah. And, you know, there's a 5D chess game being played out, in all honesty. And it's so advanced and so high level that, you know, like when you're playing a game of chess, sometimes you have to sacrifice pieces to get the upper hand, right? I don't know. Do you play chess?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I tried it once and I just, no.
Yeah, I'll have to teach you.
No, thanks.
But when you play chess, sometimes people who play chess, you have to sacrifice pieces, you know, to get the upper hand on a certain move, right?
Yeah.
So I just think, you know, based on the whole JFK Jr. QAnon stuff, there's people that have really gone into this and researched it. And, you know, Trump said, you know, people see Trump as a bit of a dope, don't they? Oh, they do, right? Well, one of the guys on Facebook that we know, right, Steve is his first name, said he wanted...
Not me, though.
No, he wanted to research Trump because he wanted to understand why people seeing him in that way, right? And in his book, he states, I like pretending to be a bit dumb because from a business point of view, because you get an advantage that way.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I can see that as a business point. I can see that because John Irwin said the same thing to us, that when he does things completely against what people expect, it throws them off.
Yeah.
He said that as a super soldier. And I can see Trump as a businessman doing that, and he said that in his autobiography. So, and Stephen said, now I understand why he does what he does. Everything that he does is scripted. And when and people see him and he's a bit of an idiot and stuff like that, he's doing it on purpose because that's exactly the way he wants people to think.
Yeah.
Now, is Trump a good guy, bad guy, whatever? Well, I think Trump is on the fence. I think he's dealing with the Black Sun faction, he's dealing with the Rothschild-Rockefeller faction, and obviously he's dealing with the alt media as well. And he's trying to please everybody. And you can't have, you know, three masters. You only have one. Mm-hmm. I do believe what he's doing is, and what he's been doing since 2016, is that he's been exposing the people. And bit by bit, what he does is, he says, right, I'm going to promote you. He brings them forward. They make a complete arse of things, or they do something, and he goes, yeah, sorry, but you've made an arse of that. I'll have to let you go. Mm-hmm. And he's been doing that since 2016.
Yeah.
And bit by bit, he's been draining the swamp by getting rid of these people, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's a rumour going around that even Fauci, or the doctor, right? Apparently that he's next on the line to be got on, right? If he got into power, and he said, right, you, 25 people, I'm going to sack you straight away, they would have went after him and really went after him, right? So he had to do it in a very clever way. And he just lets them cock up in their own way. And then he'll go, sorry, but you've cocked up, so I'll have to let you go. You know, he's letting them show their incompetence.
Well, I was just saying about chess, I think he is playing the long game.
Oh, definitely playing the long game. So this long game is going back now. The whole JFK Jr. thing, again, you really need to research this, but even the death of JFK Jr., because remember, JFK Jr. his dad was John F. Kennedy, right? Yeah. And his uncle was Robert Kennedy. And them two were killed by Bush and whoever, the cabal, right? And of course, if that happened, you'd want revenge, right? But he needed somebody that he could work with and that would be strong enough. Because remember, Trump is a billionaire, right? He can't be bought. He's a billionaire. And he's a businessman. He's not a politician. And JFK, obviously, and they were friends before JFK, inverted commas, died in the plane crash. And this is what I heard what happened. The fact that JFK Jr. knew that they were out to kill him because everybody thought he'd be the next John F. Kennedy. So what they did was, when they flew the plane to Martha's Vineyard, they knew they planted a bomb on the plane. So when it got up to a certain height, it'd activate, and when it went below that, it'd blow up, right? So what they did is they removed the bomb that was on the plane, and they put on their own bomb, and they had a guy fly the plane, and when it got to a certain height, the pilot jumped out and parachuted, pressed the button, plane blew up, right? They allegedly didn't find the bodies, and the beacon of where the plane crashed was a few miles away, away from the plane. And on the funeral, instead of them, because he was loved by everybody, because he was a Kennedy, right? But they had 17 people on a ship buried at sea. Doesn't make sense. And then you have these people turning up in the media with certain disguises, and the girl that's with this guy looks like JFK Jr.'s wife at the time. So this is the whole thing you need to look at. So this planning of what went on has been taken over 20 years. And even if you look at the last magazine of George, which is what JFK Jr., he ran a magazine, and it was called George. And it says about Hillary Clinton being indicted, and it says about 2020, the return on 2020. When you really look into this, and listen to how, people analysed it, and you think, wow, this is so clever. If this is true, this is so clever. And they're really like watching every movement and counteracting, because even the virus, right? This virus was from the Black Sun faction, right? This was put out by the Black Sun faction. Okay. Right? And, but they said, right, okay, we're going to use this opportunity. And the opportunity is that everybody's on lockdown, which means that nobody is congregating in football stadiums and stuff. So they can't send in the suicide bombers and kill loads of people. So they took advantage of the situation of people being in their own home, right? So there's less people being able to be attacked with false flags. And
okay, makes sense, yeah.
Makes sense. So for safety reasons, they took advantage of it because they knew that was coming. So this is all being played out now at the moment, and this is what's being put out there. So, do I believe all of it? No, I don't. But when you really analyse and look into it, you think, wow, this is such a clever game if they're doing it. Yeah. Well,
like I say, there may be truth in it, there may not be, but I think if it's just a dot in a big kind of a jigsaw, not even a jigsaw, but a kind of join the dots puzzle, if it's an important dot, then obviously people would need to look at it, because if not, you could be missing something, that links two other things together, because up till then, other events are just kind of, what's the word, I can't think of the bloody word. Anyway, there might be an event over here and another event over here, and they might just
coincidence.
Coincidence, yeah. There might be two coincidences in their own right, but then if you have the missing dot here that you look, then you start to build, as we say, the bigger picture. Yeah. Like when as you move away from it, it starts to become clearer.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, I think people need to research it and just don't poo-poo it. Go and do the research and look into it. Look at the evidence. Look what they're saying. And then when you have a good bit of information, then decide on whether you believe it or not. Just don't push it to one side. I think there's an awful lot going on. And the idea where, under emergency law, I think Trump has the ability to control all the media. And one of the things that were said was that the media will be taken over by the military or taken over by, probably the military. And a documentary will be actually broadcast 24/7. And it won't be Trump on the documentary because people still don't like Trump, right?
Yeah.
But they're saying that, I'm just putting it out there, right? I'm not saying it's true, but this is what they're saying. That it could be JFK Jr. doing the documentary and saying, this is what's been going on. This is who's been involved. This is why I had to pretend that I was killed because of X, Y, and Z. And this documentary will run for probably, 24/7 for a few days. And the media will be controlled, so they won't have a choice but to play this. And then all the information will come out, and people's minds will just, and then, minds will be blown because they'll be gone.
People knocking on your door and my door.
Yeah, who are you going to trust? JFK Jr. I mean, as I say, they like the Kennedys.
Yeah.
And there will be people,
They go around like headless chickens wondering what the hell's going on.
Losing the plot. Now, I'm not going to turn around to you and say that this is going to happen. This is just kind of the rumour that's out there. You need to look at the whole Q phenomenon. But also, what's happening. And we talked about this last night on a group meeting. People are feeling, there's two kind of feelings people are having. You have one feeling of just kind of a bit despair and what can I do, and this frustration at the system. But then there's another side to it of people feeling just quietly confident that the universe will sort itself out. Things will. So we have to go through this.
Well, that's where 3D. I am, and I'm guessing that's where you are as well.
This 3D has to be played out. We've won, right? But this 3D has to be played out, and it gets darkest before it gets to dawn. And there's, one half is the despair, and what can we do, and, this new norm and stuff. But there's another half that says, yeah, don't worry about it, it'll sort itself out.
Stop living in fear.
Living in fear.
That's where we are. That's where a lot of people are at the moment. They're living in the fear because they're paying too much attention. Now, I'm not saying there's anyone here or listening to this show, because I'm guessing everyone here is open-minded and well kind of tuned into what's going on and just treat it as information. But I'm sure a lot of your friends, neighbours, possibly family members as well, they just can't see the end of this, and they're living in fear. Members of my own close group, I will just say, I'll say my family. There's one member of my family, my sister, who's living in fear at the moment, and I'm just kind of doing my best to let her know, like what Alan said, that, there is hope at the end, a light at the end of the tunnel. Not even hope, there is light, and we just need to believe that the light is there, and it's a friendly light, it's a positive light, and it's there for our benefit and not for the benefit of the people who are trying to control us. Totally.
Fear is a low frequency, and you don't want to be in there, because a number of people I've interviewed on Circle of White Light, the likes of Laura, Yvette, Siobhan, David Ash, a few people all agree that there is going to be a frequency change or a frequency shift somewhere down the line. Unfortunately, their belief is that it's only going to be for 15% of the population, right? So, and if you're 51% service to others, then you'll be on the train, the 5D train, if you want to call it that, rather than the 3D, because 85% of the population, whether you believe it or not, they're the mask-wearing people, they're the bots, they're the background people, they're the clones, and there's people on this planet who aren't even human as well. Keep that in mind as well. So, if that's the 85%, then the 15% who are the organic 15%, this is what they're saying. Dolores Cannon said it, about the divide between the 3D and the 5D and the energy shift. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm just telling you what I've been told, that they feel they're tuning in to the universal energy and saying there is going to be a split. There's going to be a divide. And they're saying that it could be this year, could be next year. I was speaking to a chap in Poland who's has a following of 100,000 people. And he knows who he is, and a really nice guy, and he's been on Polish TV and everything else. And I said to him about the 15%, and he said no, he's been told it's 5%. 5, yeah.
Okay.
So he showed me a map. He showed me like a sketch, not so much a map, but a sketch. And he showed me 2 lines, and he said, this is the 2020 route to where we going with energy, and this is the 2021. So if it doesn't happen in 2020, he reckons it's going to happen in 2021. So is it going to happen? I don't know. Some people are like Laura, Laura's friend Lisa said that the information she got through was saying July, August, but I don't want to give out dates and stuff because you know what happens with that, and then nothing happens and all that, you know. So, but this is what they're saying. I'm just telling you what they're saying, so don't shoot the messenger. So I do think, so this is why I am kind of quietly confident. Yes, there are times that you kind of see what's going on with all the mask wearing, glove wearing, you know, bots, and you kind of go, oh my God, you know, and we have to kind of socialise with these people, go in shopping with them. But at the end of the day, you just have to remain positive and maybe use a bit of psychology with them if they say something. Ask them a question and say, what do you think of all these, you know, health workers doing all the TikTok dancing if the hospitals are supposed to be packed? You know, why do you think the English government turned around and said that most people won't get it if we're still wearing masks? You know, again, ask the questions rather than giving them the information and get them thinking.
That's it. I think that's the right thing to do. Don't try and give them information, because if someone tried to force you to believe something that didn't kind of resonate with you, then I suppose your natural reaction is fight or flight. So you're going to fight it. You won't believe it. But yeah, plant the seed, ask questions, and then let them do their own brain work, figure it out for themselves. If they still come to the same conclusion, well, then you have to ask, well, okay, are they right? Or maybe they are, and maybe they're not ready to wake up just yet. Because as we did say before, some people should not be woken up, because if they do wake up, they can become a danger to themselves and people around them.
Exactly. So the best not to kind of wake them up. Also remember about the Constitution and this mandatory vaccine thing, all right? At the end of the day, they don't have a mandate from the people to force us to have a vaccine, and we have the Constitution there, okay? Now, they might try and find another way around it, but at the end of the day, they cannot kick down your door and hold you down and stick a needle in you, right? It's just not on. And even if the company that you work for or the school that your kids are going to or something, and they go, but they have to have the vaccine, you just pull out the Constitution, Article 41, 1.1, and say, I'm sorry, but we made a private family determination and we've decided that she doesn't want the vaccine. And if they go, oh, but there's a law that they brought out a law, that's positive law, and the family is far superior than any positive law. And if they want to bring it to court, then, you know, you can go to court with them if you want to take them on. But they need to know that that's why we have a Constitution. And thank God we have a Constitution. Yeah. Now, I know we know that there's been cases that you go into, and especially when you're dealing with banks, and you might apply the Constitution and you'll never win because obviously it's the banks. But this is of interest to human rights. And then you go to, Europe, and you look at the Convention of Human Rights, and that will probably support you as well. All right, so there's all positives there. So don't be concerned about that. If we have any more information, or if I come across any information, I'm sure Steve and his show, if he has any information, he'll tell you about that and let you know. But that's I think we've reached the end. The last bit was on Steve's show. He talked about what was the difference between a major chord and a minor chord. And before we went live, I actually picked up my guitar and just played the difference between a major and a minor chord. So
well, I think you should do it again now.
Oh, okay. Very quickly.
It didn't take much convincing.
No, okay.
I thought he was going to go, oh, no.
No. Okay, I don't know whether you'll pick it up.
This is actually interesting. I did not know this, so.
Okay, so this is a major chord. It's a happy, because major chords are kind of happy.
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 Yeah.
And then you have a minor chord, which is a bit sad.
Oh, sad.
My dog died.
Oh.
And then you go back to...
Well, we got a new one.
A major chord.
Yay.
So there you go.
Right, so you see, you'll always learn something here. Whether it's OYM or Circle of White Light, you will come away feeling I learned something on that show.
There you go. So that's the difference between a major and a minor chord. So what's the plan for you? So tell us about, before we finish up and we pass over to PIR, you're doing your show on Thursday.
Yes.
And you're doing your quiz show on Saturday.
Yes.
Right. Quickly tell us about it.
Okay. Myself and my wife, Barbara, we do a 2-hour show. It's just general kind of chat where we don't kind of we don't delve very deep into a lot of the subjects, but it's like we try to have it kind of light and just kind of ask questions. Like we might ask questions about the lockdown and stuff like that. But it's kind of done on a, he said, she said, and, there's the occasional row thrown in, and a lot of people would know it. There is a website. The website is twoscompany.eu. That's TWOS, twoscompany.eu. The show was on Thursdays from 7:30 to 9:30 in the PM. It's on People's Internet Radio. And we also do a quiz show. This was just kind of a harebrained thing that we decided to do because of this lockdown. We call it the quarantine quiz. So that's on Saturday evenings from 10 p.m. till whenever we finish. That's it.
There you go. Brilliant. Somebody actually posted up something about a movie. They're calling it Quentin Quarantino. Because you have to stay in to watch his movies.
Very good.
Okay, so coming up shortly you have PIR. I don't know whether Barry's going to be on there, but only a good show there over on PIR. And next week on Circle of White Light Radio, I have Frank Chili Jr. Now, we interviewed Frank Chili on OYM a couple of years ago, and he had great information regarding advanced technology and things that were going on. And he was talking to Bill Tompkinson before he passed away in his 80s. Bill Tompkinson was a very high-level UFO guy. He actually was involved in building these advanced crafts. Trump talks about the space program. And, we've just launched the space program and the space group, which they've had all along. This is part of your disclosure. He's telling you that they already it's already there. But for people who don't know, now I don't know whether you know, Steve, but the Pentagon released 3 video footage of UFOs.
I've seen it, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure the guys, when they released it, they probably thought, right, we're going to release it now. Wait till people go, they lose the plot when we actually tell them that we've had footage. So they release it and people go, UFO videos? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, virus.
Yeah, that's it.
and I'm sure they're sitting there going, nobody's interested.
Was it someone on one of your previous shows said that those short clips out of the UFO footage was actually longer? It was like an hour or 45 minutes long, but they just kind of picked those 3 little key points out to release them. But and like you say, it came out and people looked at them and went, okay, whatever. They're
going to have to do something better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, when, I don't know. We always think about Independence Day, the whole kind of UFOs coming down, and everybody goes out in the morning and sees them all up there.
Yep.
That would be fantastic. But as we get constantly told all the time, the humans have to sort their own problems out. We're not going to sort it out.
Mm-hmm.
So the Universal Council apparently are as useful as an ashtray in a motorbike, as far as I'm concerned. They'll probably come down with a ray gun and shoot me now.
They probably will.
Right. Okay, well, listen, folks, we're reaching that time. We hope you enjoyed the chat between myself and Steve, having a catch-up on everything that's going on. We were asked to do that by OYM, Circle of White Light, and Two's Company listeners, regular listeners to the shows, to get together and have a chat. And obviously put to bed the conspiracy theory once and for all, because it's amazing that people come up with, they don't know the real truth, so they just make something up and then put it out there, and then people believe it, and then you think, where the hell did that come from?
It's sad, but a lot of people who are on the chat room and have been on the chat rooms over the years, I think they would have a good sense of who we are and what we're about. And if anyone has any questions or queries in relation to anything, any of those conspiracy theories, don't wait. Email one of us. We'll put you straight.
But if you do find a kind of theory out there saying that we're both good lovers, I think that's a true one.
That is true. Yeah,
that's true. That's it. That's we can give you the evidence for that one. All right, folks. Listen, have a good one. Take care, and thanks, Dave, for
thanks for having me on.
Joining up in Studio One, and we'll see you next week. And we'll say goodbye. Take care. Bye bye.
You have been listening to Circle of White Light Radio on circleofwhitelight.com, focusing on solutions and thinking different.